everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio. Today I'm sharing with you a sped up version of the Art Joy of Sharing live stream channel live stream from today, which is the 16th of January 2020. As you guys who've been following along know, Peg and I discontinued the Facebook group for Pick a Stick Challenge this year because we just had too many things going on. But we did say, for those of you who want to come over to the Art Joy of Sharing Facebook group, we'll do an occasional Pick a Stick Challenge there. So today on the live stream show, that's what we did. We alternated with each other, picking the sticks and using the same formula that we have been using. 2 colors, 2 wild cards, and then 6 steps that you do in order. You can do things before, after, in between, but you got to do the 6 steps in order. If you don't like one of the steps, you can replace it with the wild card. So I drew one, she drew one, I drew one, she drew one, until we had the sticks for doing our challenge. And I'm working today in the Dilutions Planner journal. There's 2 manila cardstock books in there. One of them has got the days of the week printed on it, and the other one has like a lines printed on it. And then I also purchased one in the same size that has black pages, because sometimes it's fun to work on black pages. Start out with black. So I'm using the one, this is the first time I've used it. It was a gift last year from Peg. And I had so many journals that I was just trying to finish up all the journals that I had already started. And I did finish a lot of them. I still have some, but I decided to start working in this book, today. So I'll use this one throughout the year. Probably I'll even do my daily art journal pages that we do, which I think we're going to do in October this year instead of November, because it's just crazy to do it in November. So I started out by putting a piece of washi tape down the middle of the page, and that is to protect all the other pages in the book. If you use wet media, there's little holes in the stitching, and the wet media will go through and get on other pages, which annoys me. So you can always put a piece of masking tape or washi tape down the middle of your page to protect all the rest. So the very bizarre color combination that we picked today for our 2 colors, I picked one, Peg picked one, she picked silver, I picked tan. Yuck. Just yuck. I don't like brown or any shades of brown. So I got out some craft color papers, some tissue paper that has some stamping on it that I received in a swap one time, a paper bag that has some what I think looks like wallpaper printing on it, some other craft colored paper, some coffee stained music paper, some dictionary paper, just little things to add tan color to my manila page. You guys know I love collage. I love sticking stuff to stuff. It's it's just something I really enjoy. So this is always a good way to start out an art journal page for me. I probably do this 99.9% of the time. Probably. I'm not sure the percentage, but yeah, I like to glue paper to other paper. I like all kinds of scraps. I have a bin of scraps there right next to where my right hand would be, and I just grab these out of there. So just any types of tan paper that I could find, I glue them on there. The big piece of craft tissue paper is kind of interesting. Like I said, I got that in a swap, and everyone else stamped in archival ink or permanent ink on white tissue paper, and this one was on tan. And I thought that was interesting. This little hourglass ends up featuring on my page quite a bit. When I was doing this, I didn't realize that that was going to happen, or I probably would have put it further left and further up than where I put it had I realized it was going to end up being something that was like a feature on my page. But I didn't know when I was doing this. I just thought I was making a background. So once I'm happy with all the collaging, then I just go ahead and set this needs to dry. And then the next step is Crescent. And I know I still need to use some silver paint, and I'm thinking and thinking and thinking, what do I have that is a crescent? I just can't even think of anything. So I decided, well, a crescent is part of a circle, and I grabbed a couple of these 4-inch stencils from StencilGirl that I have that are in circle shapes. And I always am obsessed with circle shapes, so I have quite a few that are in circle shapes. And I just used a part of the stencil, like around the edge, and then just a little over half to make some silver crescent shapes on my page. I also had this one that had kind of some half circles on it, so and it's kind of a border one. I had to fill in a little bit of the silver with that, just around the edges of the page as well. I will try to find these stencils as well as all the other products that I used today on my page and put the links for you in the description box below the video. You can just click on that down arrow and there's a bunch of information down there. Links to my Amazon store, links to my donation page on PayPal, all those kinds of links. Links to all my social media, Facebook, Pinterest, everything is all down there. So you can look down there for whatever stencils these are because I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't have it memorized, so I'll have to look them up. So then I'm doing some integration of everything. I decided I wanted another color on the page besides silver and tan. And so I thought this quinacridone gold would be kind of something that kind of goes along with tan and silver, but isn't overpowering. So that's Deco Art Premium Paint. And I'm just applying it with my finger and also using, in some cases, a baby wipe to kind of wipe it back a little bit. Just trying to integrate all these shapes on the page, which there are now a lot, into the page. Still not sure what the page is going to be about or what it's going to end up being, but I thought it would be nice to put some quinacridone gold on there. You can't go wrong with quinacridone gold, sometimes called quinacridone nickel azo gold if you want to get fussy. Say that 3 times fast. That's a long name for a paint. Now this looks a little streaky. It would have been better had I gessoed this page first. Just saying. I should have done it, but the show was starting and I didn't want to waste people's time watching me gesso a page. That's not that interesting. So the paint would have smoothed on a lot better had I done that because of course it's absorbing into the paper and giving it a little bit of a streak. But I do know there's another prompt coming up, so I know it will help me. It's glaze. So I was thinking about the next prompt, which is grim. And I was trying to figure out what I would want to say about that. And I saw my little hourglass and I thought, a grim thought, how we never have enough time. And this is something that I think about a lot right now in my life because, there are things going on in my life that make me think about time and the lack of it. I also think there's not enough money because there's always something that you want to do for your loved ones or give them or help them with, and you never have enough money. There's just never enough. Maybe somebody does have enough money, but it's not me. I don't need a lot, but it would be nice to be able to help my kids, stuff like that. So I'm thinking these grim thoughts, and then I start thinking more grim thoughts about how I was watching the presidential debate and they just all seem the same. And I watch news and it's so grim what's going on in the world, how people judge other people based on stupid reasons like the color of their skin or who they love. And yeah, then I'm looking at the presidential candidates and I mean politicians, they're just politicians, not real people. That's grim. So I decided to put never enough time, never enough money, never enough love on my page, and that's going to be the theme, but then I'm going to lighten it up. That's grim, but that was the prompt, grim. So the next prompt is wood, and I decided to use these wood shavings that someone sent me in a Happy Mail package. I had to use a heavy glue, and I used tacky glue and made sure that I put my finger on it to make it very tacky because these are curled up and they want to curl up. So in order to lay them down very flat, I had to really get some thick tacky glue. But I made something for the owl to stand on, a piece of wood, and he appreciates that. He had a piece of wood in the magazine image, of course, but the magazine image smeared and everything was just kind of bleh. So I thought wood would be good. Then I also was looking up on my ledge of my window and I saw this stamp, which is a textile stamp, and it was given to me as a gift from my youngest son's best friend who is going to school in London, England. And he found it, I think, at like a, I don't know what you would call it, but like a swap meet. We call them swap meets here. And it's those type of wooden carved stamps are used to make fabric in an old fashioned way. Designs like that, put in ink and then make designs, repetitive designs on fabric. So, and sometimes batik, they would use it for the wax process of applying wax in patterns and then dyeing it, and the wax acts as resist. That's a batik. So I put some silver paint on there and I stamped it around the page. And in the close-ups, you'll be able to see it. On the video, it's hard to see because it's silver, and silver just doesn't show up very well. So the next step, step 4, is glaze. And so I got some glazing medium, which is acrylic paint without pigment in it. It's just clear, and it helps to thin down and make another paint translucent when you mix them together. By the way, step 5 is mix, and so I'm mixing mixing them together. First with Titan Buff, and I'm just kind of calming down the background. If you have a lot of things going on and you want some things to show up, to come forward, and other things to get pushed into the background, glazing is a great way to do it. You just translucentize that paint using some glazing medium so it's not so opaque, and then you can go around and push back the background, make things come up out in the foreground. And then I also wanted to add another color, and quinacridone, gold, and turquoise or teal look great together. So they give real Southwest look. I like it. So I added some glazing medium to I think it's called bright turquoise or bright aqua paint, and made kind of a glaze of that too. And then the last step was smear. And so I used some of the full strength turquoise paint on just the corners so that you have that very dark, solid, opaque paint. And then it's scooching in and having some translucent turquoise paint. So that was smear. Now I'm all done with the steps for the Pick a Stick challenge, and I just want to do some other things to the page. So the first thing I do is get out this Pentel pocket brush pen, which has an India ink in a synthetic brush. And then I have this Arteza water brush, has water in the side of the barrel and a little valve that you can push in the middle, and the water comes out. And the combination of these two is really great. When you get to that India ink and blend it out, thin it out to the edges using a water brush, it looks really cool. It looks like watercolor, but it's permanent because it's India ink. Once it's dry, it's permanent. India ink doesn't smear or run if any other water gets on it. So I like to do this process sometimes to do shadows around things, and that really is helping those images that I want to stand out really stand out from the background. It makes them come right out and be seen. The hands with the heart, the hourglass, and the owl. So I'm going around the edges of those things and blending out the India ink using a water brush. Pretty cool stuff, I think. Then the next thing I'm going to do is do the highlights, because if you have shadows, you probably want highlights. It gives a lot more drama if you're a llama drama mama. So I start with some silver, and I'm gonna add some silver to my hourglass because the hourglass is not standing out as much as everything else, and that is because it was stamped on craft paper, and probably the ink pad wasn't very juicy when she stamped it, and so it's just not as dark or as intense. It has thinner lines. So I decided to color it in with some silver to try to get it to stand out, and silver still wasn't enough for me. So, of course, out comes the white Posca pen. Gonna add some super bright highlights with white on the feathers of the owl, on the highlights of the hands, on the highlights of the hourglass. Just quickly going and adding some little dashes and dots of white, which does make things stand out because it's so bright. A Posca pen is an acrylic paint pen. This one is the small tip, not the extra small or extra fine, but the fine tip. And I use this pen on almost everything I do. Really, I've gone through so many of them. I buy them in packs of 3 on Amazon, and I will make sure that link is below the video. If you just click on that more, there's almost always links down there to the products that I use. Occasionally I don't have time to do it, but almost 95% of my videos have links so that if you really want to use that product, you can. And I have had some questions lately that lead me to believe that people don't realize there's links down there. So that's the reason I'm telling you. If you're new to the channel, I do link products below. Oftentimes they are affiliate links, and if you use the affiliate links, I get a few cents to buy more art supplies for the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. It's not a different price for you. They just reward me for sending you to their site. So this is where I'm lightening up the page, the grimness of it. If your life is getting you down and things are sad and you're watching the news and you just can't take it anymore, go to your studio or wherever you do art and do some art because it will make you feel so much better. So I wrote on there, so just do art. Just do art, people. That will help you. I promise it will make you feel better. Get out some creativity, slap some paint or paper on something, and make something pretty and lighten up the world, and you will feel better. So I still didn't think that hourglass stood out enough, so I used a fine, very fine tip illustration pen to go over the lines, and then I did add back in even more dark with the brush pen, and I did that on the owl and the background of the hourglass just to make them stand out more. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment or question below, subscribe to my channel, that's awesome, and turn on that notification bell that goes ring-a-ling-a-ling if a fresh new video is coming out. And you can always share this on Pinterest or Facebook. All those things help people find my channel in the myriad of channels that are out there. And of course, that's very helpful to me as well. I think that's about it. And on the end screen will be a link to the recorded real-time version of the live stream if you'd like to watch it in real time instead of sped up like this. That's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.